like Susan Jeffers' artwork. The king's son had been told that a great princess, unknown to all the company, would soon arrive, and he ran out to receive her himself. He gave her his hand as she sprang from the coach and led her into the hall where everyone was assembled. At once, there was silence. So awed were the guests by the mysterious princess that they left off dancing and the musicians ceased to play. Then a hushed murmur swept the room. Oh, how lovely she is! How lovely! The king's son led her across the floor, and they danced together again and again. A fine banquet was served, but the young prince only gazed at her and would not eat a bite. After a time, she left his side and went to sit by her sisters. She treated them with kindness and offered them sections of oranges that the prince had given to her. It was very much pleased them to be singled out in this way. Then Cinderella heard the clock strike 11:45. Quickly, she wished the company good night, ran from the hall and down the palace steps to her coach. There we go. Such pretty illustrations. When she was home again, she found her godmother and thanked her and asked if she might go to the ball again the next day. As Cinderella was telling her godmother all that had happened, her two sisters came into the room. "Ah, if you'd only been there," said the sisters. "There was an unknown princess, the most beautiful scene in this world. She sat with us and gave us oranges." "Was she really so very beautiful? And do you know her name?" Then Cinderella turned to the elder one. "Ah, dear sister, won't you give me your plainest dress so that I might see the princess myself?" "What? Lend my clothing to a dirty cinder wench? I should be out of my mind," cried the sister. Cinderella had expected such an answer and was very glad of the refusal. The next evening, the two sisters went to the ball, and she went too, dressed even more exquisitely than the first time. The king's son was always with her and spoke to her with words of praise. So entranced was Cinderella that she forgot her godmother's warning, and she heard the chimes of midnight striking when she thought it couldn't be no more than 11 o'clock. At once she arose and fled, nimble as a deer. Though the prince rushed after her, he could not catch her. In her haste, she left behind one of the glass slippers, which he picked up and carried with him. Cinderella's coach had vanished, and she had to run home in the dark. Of her finery, nothing remained but the other glass slipper. The guards at the palace gates were asked if they had seen a princess, but they replied that no one had come by there but a poor country girl dressed in rags. You can see her speaking with her godmother, and then you can see the stepsisters in the background. Oh, there she is, running off. can see she only has one shoe on. And there's the prince way up there. When the two sisters returned from the ball, Cinderella asked whether the unknown princess had again appeared. They told her yes, but she'd hurried away the moment the clock struck midnight, and now the king's son had only the glass slipper she had left behind. They said that he was broken-hearted and would do anything to find her once more. All this was true. A few days after the king's son proclaimed that he would marry the woman for whom the glass slipper had been made. The couriers began by trying the slipper on all the princesses. They tried it on the duchesses and then on the ladies of the court. But nowhere in the land could they find a woman whose foot was small enough for the slipper. At last, it was brought to the two sisters. See the couriers? And they're carrying the glass slipper on a big pillow. And there's the stepmother and the two stepsisters up in the window. And then the Cinderella down here. They pushed and pushed, trying to squeeze their feet inside. But they were not able to manage it. Cinderella was in the room and recognized the slipper at once. "Let me see if it will fit my foot," she said. Her sisters began to laugh and tease her, but the courier who'd been sent with the slipper looked at Cinderella and saw that she was lovely. He said his orders were that every woman in the land must try it on. Cinderella sat down, and he held the slipper up to her little foot. It went on at once, as easily as if it had been made for her. Then, while the two sisters watched, Cinderella drew from her pocket the other glass slipper and put it on too. Suddenly her godmother was there, and she touched the girl's ragged clothes with her wand, and they became a gown even more beautiful than the ones that she had worn to the ball. And now her sisters knew who the unknown princess. Wait a minute. And now her two sisters knew she had been the unknown princess they had so admired. They threw themselves at her feet to beg her forgiveness for all their ill treatment. Cinderella bid them to rise and said that she forgave them with all her heart. Then Cinderella was taken before the prince. He was overwhelmed with love for her, and sometime later they were married. Cinderella, who was as good as she was beautiful, gave her two sisters a home in the palace, and that very same day they were married to two lords of the court. And that is the Charles Perrault version of Cinderella, with pictures by Susan Jeffers. Whatever you do today, have fun.